A lot of people were convinced that Nintendo would not be doing a Summer Direct this year. I think that's because earlier they announced that they would not be attending E3. Of course, that was before E3 ended up getting canceled, but still, I think a lot of people just thought Nintendo just didn't have anything to show. But apparently that was wrong, because we just got a huge Nintendo Direct, and there ended up being a lot of surprises there. One of the biggest surprises was actually a game that they featured pretty early on in the Direct, and that's a remake of Super Mario RPG. There were rumors going around that Nintendo was going to be announcing a remake of an SNES game, and I guess that was this one. I guess that explains why we still haven't gotten Super Mario RPG on NSO, because this game was in the works. In terms of the way this remake looks, I think it looks pretty good. I'm always interested in seeing how developers tackle trying to modernize the visuals of an older game, this one specifically being from the 16-bit era. And although this one looks fine to me, I think I prefer something like what Square did with the Live Alive remake using that HD 2D style. But still, this is one that a lot of people haven't been able to play yet, myself included, but I've always heard that it's amazing, and this one looks like a faithful recreation of it, so I'm excited to give it a go. Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon is getting a remastered port to the Switch. It always makes me happy to see 3DS games make it over to the Switch. We've seen so many Wii U games come over, but not too many 3DS games, so this one's exciting. I did actually play Dark Moon on 3DS not that long ago, so I don't know if I will be picking this one up on Switch or not. Probably not, but still, I'm really excited for it to be there so that people who haven't tried it yet have a place to play it. And I think it has its place because it's a very different game than Luigi's Mansion 3, which is on the Switch. This game is very much more catered towards handheld play. You can play it in small bursts, and you don't have to dedicate large chunks of time to playing it. So I will be interested to see what people think about playing this game on the Switch. Now, some Luigi's Mansion fans don't really like this game. They prefer the gameplay from Luigi's Mansion 1 or 3, but I think as long as you keep in mind that it is kind of a handheld take on the series, I think it's a pretty cool game. There was also an unnamed Princess Peach game announced. Well, it's kind of just teased. Now, I'm going to have to reserve my hype for when we see more of this game. What we saw looks pretty good, but it does look very generically Nintendo, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. We also got another look at Pikmin 4, which was really cool, but not really unexpected because that game's coming out not too far from now. What actually excited me more was that Pikmin 1 and 2 are getting HD ports, and they're actually available on the eShop right now, and they're getting a physical version released later on in the year. The trailer also specifically mentioned split-screen co-op for those games, which is really exciting. Catherine and I played through Pikmin 3 Deluxe and split-screen co-op back when it first released on Switch, and it was an amazing experience. So if now we're going to be able to play through 1 and 2 also in split-screen, that's going to be awesome. It's just great that the Switch now is going to have the full line of all 4 Pikmin games. WarioWare is getting a new game called WarioWare Move It. To me, this is actually one of the most surprising things we saw at this Direct, not because people are super excited about it or anything, but I just think it's really crazy that we're already getting another WarioWare game. I felt like we just got Get It Together not that long ago, so getting another WarioWare game was absolutely not in my Nintendo Direct bingo card. This new one, Move It, seems like it's very focused on motion controls, which makes sense considering the name, and honestly, that's kind of a turnoff for me, but I did enjoy the last WarioWare game a bit, so I'll probably rent this one from GameFly or something just to make sure I like it before I buy it. But by far, the biggest game announced in this Nintendo Direct was a new 2D Mario game called Super Mario Bros. Wonder. If you don't count the Super Mario Maker games or the mobile game Super Mario Run, I think it's been like over a decade since we last got a proper 2D Mario game. The art style in this new one is a little different from the new Super Mario Bros. Games, but it's not too much of a departure of what you'd expect from a 2D Mario game. It does have some interesting, subtle, artistic things going on that does give this game its own vibe. In terms of gameplay, Super Mario Wonder will feature a number of playable characters. Of course, there's Mario, but also Luigi, Peach, Toad, and even Daisy, which I know a lot of people are excited about. 4-player co-op is also back, which is really great for those of us who like to play games with others. I know that's definitely the way that Catherine and I will be playing this one. But the main gimmick that separates Super Mario Bros. Wonder from other 2D Mario games seems to be the Wonder Flower. When Mario interacts with it, some crazy and unexpected things seem to happen in the game world. We got a little taste of the different things that can happen in the trailer, but I bet that Nintendo has a lot more stuff to show us, and we'll get to see some of that as we get closer to the game's launch later this year. And speaking of its launch, it's coming out at the end of October, so I bet this will be Nintendo's big holiday title this year. And I know a lot of people were hoping that Metroid Prime 4 might be the holiday title for 2023, but we didn't hear a word about it in this Direct. I was also hoping to hear about a new Donkey Kong game, and that didn't happen either. And a big thing that wasn't there that some people were expecting was new Switch hardware. I kind of think that even if Nintendo did have hardware ready to show us, I don't think they'd show it in a Direct. I think they'd give new hardware its own dedicated time to shine. I think that when they do release it, it's going to be a surprise drop out of nowhere, all on its own, and it's going to explode the internet. But in terms of this Direct, there were over 30 games featured, and I've only really touched on a couple of them here. These were just the first party games that I was most excited about. But I'd love to know what you thought about this Direct and which games got you the most pumped. Maybe some third party games I didn't talk about. If you enjoyed this video and gaming discussions like this, make sure to leave a like on your way out, and let's keep the conversation going in the comments. There's also an invite link to the Gaming Gig Discord server in the description of this video. We'd love to have you join and be a part of that community. But otherwise, I'll let you go there. I'm Randy from Gaming Gig, and I'll see you next time.